Now, this is a section of the show that I think I might just call the Will Nicklin section because um we have our superfan Nina, who was obviously one of the people who was like, "Where's Sean? What have you done with him? What have you monsters done with Sean?" And
Bring him back to me.
yeah, bring him back. I need some more Sean in my life. And her husband Will is a he doesn't particularly like veggie films, but he saw the trailer for Licorice Pizza, and he was like, "Ooh, are you gonna see Licorice Pizza, Tosin? What do you think about it?" Because his words were, I'm not a big cinema goer, but this is actually has me intrigued." And he also mentioned the next thing that we're going to be talking about, which is The Tourist,
Yeah.
because he's been watching that, and because of him, I thought, okay, maybe I'll give this a go because this is a six part TV series on BBC iPlayer, starring Jamie Dornan, and it's essentially Jamie Dornan being this guy who he's actually playing Irish this time, which is pretty cool. I quite like when he
Which is
plays it.
nice.
Yeah, yeah. He's so it's this Irish dude in the Australian outback, and stuff happens. Is and I didn't want to watch this because I kind of felt like I knew where it was gonna go. But but I was like, okay, fine. Everybody's talking about this and making a big deal about it. Let me watch it. Let me see whether it's good. And this kicks off with him in the outback, and he's in this sort of like old beat up car. He's in the middle of nowhere because it's the outback, and he stops at a petrol station, pays for some fuel, drives off, and then all of a sudden, this big, massive, sort of like 10-ton truck starts following him, and it is like something out of the Steven Spielberg film Duel, where essentially car going along being chased by this massive truck trying to run them off the road. Stuff happens, and then he wakes up in a hospital. He wakes up in a hospital, and he cannot remember who he is. He can't remember who he is, why he's there, what's going on, and a local police officer who's actually a traffic police woman, but wants to be more, comes along to her, and she's just been assigned because nobody really cares about him. They're like, oh well, it's not that big a deal, to find out everything about him, and so you kind of get that that she might be a bit inexperienced when she gives him money to go to some truck stop where he found the address in his pocket to try and figure out who he is. So a large part of this is him trying to trace his steps back and figure out who he is. But there's a thriller element because it turns out that he might not have been uh, a particularly nice person, or he might have been involved with some not particularly nice people. And over the 6 episodes, you start like you find out little by little this is what happened, and we're gonna trace this back. This is what you got. Oh, there's this random phone number in a koala. What are we gonna do with this? And all of a sudden it rings, and someone's gonna like pick up the phone, and then you've got to go here, and I've got to go there. And I'm gonna try and retrace my steps and try and figure out who it was, and why is this international drug thief after me? And and so it's all these different things that's almost a bit of a Shaggy Dog thing. Who's who? Who can I trust? Who's saying what? I'm trying to put together like a picture of who I was, and I've heard it referred to as memento light, and some of it,
Okay.
yeah, some of it works well. Some of it works well because there is a character called Lucy who he meets, who just sort of like starts helping him out, and it's like, okay, actually, who is she? Is she just somebody who's just bored in a small Australian town and wants to sort of like just come along because he's the most interesting thing, as she says, or is there more to it? And they, for me, there were bits of it that, as it was going along and as they were putting twists in and plot twist and all that, and I was just watching, going, okay, okay, fine, fine, keep going. But what is really going to make this thing stick is the ending. If you have at the end satisfying explanation for all this stuff, then you have a good show. If you don't have a satisfying explanation, then all you have is just you've just been doing putting in twists for twist's sake to
You've
pass
given six
time
hours
for
to that,
six
huh?
episodes. Yeah, yeah, for 6 episodes, and then we get to the end, and I don't quite think that they have the end done right. I mean, the final scene of it is kind of like a ooh, that's ooh, this is not comfortable Sunday evening viewing. Like the final scene of it is actually it is it's kind of quite wow, okay, that's a weird note to end on, but there's still bits of it that I'm thinking back to it now, and I'm thinking, well, hang on, if that happened, how about that? Why did that happen? Why did she say that? Why did he do? What happened when he did? No, no, but okay, okay, I understand that happened then. But you told me that happened then. What was he doing there in the first place? And there's just bits of it that don't quite add up, and it feels like they just put somebody there because they needed somebody to be there for this to happen. And
Okay.
yeah, and like there's one particular character. There's one particular character who shows up in a place, and from the time he shows up, you kind of go, okay, cool. That means that he's this kind of character, and he ends up being that kind of character. And I'm sorry for being very vague. I'm just trying to avoid spoilers. This might make no sense. He ends up being that kind of character, but the inciting incident that makes him that kind of character doesn't happen until after he originally showed up. Then I'm like, but if that happened then, why did he originally show up? It doesn't make any sense because people in the story keep saying, "Why are you? Oh, why is he here? Why is he here? Why is he here?" And it's but so there's issues with it. There's issues with it. There's some good characters. I think Danielle McDonald, who you will know from Dumpling. I remember you.
Yes, I like her from Dumpling.
Yes, yes, she's in. She plays the police officer who's trying to be something more. And yeah, she's good, but then again, I think she's good in everything. I think Jamie Dornan is good in it. He plays like he's believably sort of clueless as to what the heck's going on, and then but when things turn around and he shows that he might not have been the nicest guy, he's also believably not nice. And there's even a bit. There's a bit. This show goes all over. There's a bit where you have an LSD trip. There's a place that you have with a scorpion and an oil barrel that is a bit claustrophobic, and so it there. And I think one of the good things I like about it is the fact that it's the kind of story that man, you might have seen set in America, but the fact it's set in the outback, that is a big part of the appeal of this show. Is that it's in the Australian outback? That's a big part of the appeal. Not so much the story. Not so much the story. That I don't find that I did not find it satisfying. I would have to give this a 3 out of 5, and most of
Okay.
that would really be because of the setting, the tone that I really liked, but the story I thought was a bit of a letdown. So that is 3 out of 5 stars for the Jamie Dornan starring The Tourist. Jamie Dornan and a whole bunch